Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're making a delicious red velvet cake. Y'all, Christmas is coming, right? But I'm not doing it in pound cake form this time. We're going to do a layer cake. Yeah, you guys have got me doing all this icing of these cakes, but that's what we're doing. And then you'll be able to taste that wonderful, delicious cream cheese icing in between each layer of this cake. All right. Okay, so I'm not doing my swans down today. We're doing all-purpose flour, okay? So I'm looking at my notes, but I'm going to be using 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm using 2 teaspoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. That was my oven preheating to 350 degrees. 2 teaspoons of my unsweetened cocoa powder. And you guys, for those that ask me about this cocoa powder, this was gifted to me by my sweet, sweet friend, Jeannie. I don't know where she purchased it from, but when I went to visit her, this was just one of my many gifts that she had for me. So that's what I'll be using. And you guys, I don't use a lot of cocoa powder because I prefer my red velvet cakes to really look red, to have that vibrant red color as opposed to the burgundy. My mom's red velvet cakes had that, just that beautiful, vibrant, Christmassy red color, and that's just my preference, again, rather than burgundy. So if I add too much cocoa powder, of course it's going to darken your batter, right? So I don't add as much cocoa powder, but then I add my chocolate oil. Now I purchased my LorAnn oils. This is chocolate flavor, locally at a cake supplier. I've heard that you can get them, purchase them online. I've never done that before, but I purchased mine locally. So I still get that chocolate flavor without compromising that beautiful bright red color that I prefer. Okay? So that's what we're doing. Okay, also, I skipped around when I started talking about that red food color. Chocolate oil, 2 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, only 1 stick of butter, you guys. So 1 stick of unsalted butter, not margarine, butter. All right. And then we're going to use 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And you guys, that's what's going to help make this cake moist. In addition to the 1 cup of whole buttermilk, okay? Whole buttermilk. Then we have 1 1/2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then, let's see, 4 large eggs. They are room temperature. They've already been cracked. Speaking of room temperature, my buttermilk and my butter are also room temperature. 2 teaspoons of white distilled vinegar. And I've already mentioned the red food coloring, okay? So I have my layer pans here, you guys. If you follow me, you already know these were my mom's cake layer pans, so they are so special. Just so many wonderful memories when I use her pans. And I'll also be using, I have some bake even strips that are over there soaking. And I'll be adding these to my cake pans before I put them in the oven, and that's going to help my layers to bake as even as possible. Okay, granted, as long as I put the batter in there evenly. All right. Okay, so we're going to start getting this cake mixed up. Again, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. They're going to bake maybe about 30 minutes each layer, maybe about 30 minutes. I've thoroughly washed my hands. Don't be in the kitchen with nasty hands. Why? Because that's just nasty. And I also forgot to mention that with my flour, my cocoa powder, my baking soda, my salt, my baking powder, I sifted all of that, okay? And that's there. I sifted all of those ingredients together. Okay? All right, now we're going to add our butter. Gonna go in and add my vanilla. And I'm gonna add my distilled vinegar to my buttermilk because I do not want to forget to do that, okay? We're doing 2 teaspoons. And like I said, I'm gonna go in and put that in my buttermilk, because y'all, I might forget. It's 1, 2. Okay, now this bottle of oil isn't completely full. It's maybe about 3/4 of a bottle. So I'm just gonna also add, you're gonna add just the rest of this bottle, honey. The rest of that bottle. Okay. We're also adding our vegetable oil. And I'm going to mix this up just a few minutes by itself, and then I'll slowly start adding my sugar, and we're going to cream this, not quite as long as we do our pound cakes. We're going to cream maybe about 5 minutes, okay? Don't skimp on the creaming, okay? It's very important that you properly cream your butter and sugar until it becomes light and fluffy. Now I'm sure this is going to look a little different than it does when we just do our butter and sugar, you know, since we have vegetable oil, but I'll still come back and let you see what it looks like, light and creamy. But again, once I mix up this butter and vegetable oil and extracts just for a few seconds, then I'm going to slowly start adding my sugar, and once it's creamed, I'll come back and we'll look at what light and fluffy looks like, okay? Alright, we have arrived to light and fluffy. Okay, that's what we should be looking like. And you guys, I cream on high. So this mixer is set on about number 8. And like I say, you can't rush this process, alright? Make sure you scrape down the sides of your bowl while you're mixing, because if not, the butter and sugar is going to collect on the sides of your bowl and it's not getting creamed properly. So make sure during this process you stop maybe once, at least once, maybe twice, to scrape down the sides of your bowl, okay? So now we're going to start adding our eggs, and I'm going to add our color a little bit during this process, but add my eggs one at a time. I'm just going to mix just enough. When that yolk breaks up and it kind of barely disappears, then I'll add my next egg, okay? So once I get all of my eggs added, then it's time to start alternating the flour and the buttermilk. You're going to start with your flour mixture. You're going to end with flour. Start with dry, end with dry. Okay, and during this process, I'm going to turn my mixer down. So you'll see me, once I get the eggs added, I'm going to turn my mixer down to low. This mixer will be on about the number 2. And then I will start adding my flour, alternating with my buttermilk. Once we get that done, we're going to be ready to pour this cake and get it baked. strips to my cake pans. They are moist, and I've also thoroughly sprayed them with Baker's Joy. Okay? Of course, the oven is ready. Just gonna give this a couple of more stirs. Get down to the bottom of this bowl to make sure everything is thoroughly mixed. Okay. Now I should probably measure this out to make sure that these layers are even. But I never do that. So hopefully we're pretty even, okay? Kind of give them a shake and tap them on this countertop to help release any air bubbles. And again, we're going in 350 degrees. You guys will hear the strips sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle. And we're going to set our timer. Come on, lady, before you let all the heat out the oven. I'm going to set my timer for about 25 minutes and then I'll check them. I'll probably need to add a few more minutes, but we're going to start with 25 minutes. Now, normally I make my icing or glazes, mainly glazes by hand, because I'm just now starting to do a lot of layer cakes. So normally I make my glazes by hand, but I'm making a lot of icing today. This will probably be more than enough. If it is, that's fine. I can always save it and use it on something else. But I'm going to be using 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese. And I'm just adding that to my mixer. Ooh. And then, well, once I get it open and added, then I'm going to be using maybe about 3/4 cups of butter. Now this cream cheese and butter, they're both room temperature, okay? And then we'll add about 2 teaspoons or more is always fine, of vanilla extract. And then about 10 cups of my powdered sugar or confectioner's sugar. And then we're just going to mix this up until it gets smooth. Now I'm going to start by mixing up the butter and the cream cheese until it gets smooth, okay? And then I'll start adding my powdered sugar slowly, so I won't have powdered sugar everywhere, okay? icing is ready. Our layers are getting ready to come out. And you guys, we have baked for 25 minutes. That's number one. Ooh. Don't touch the cake pan. That's number two. And then we have number three. Prayerfully, we won't have any mishaps today. Okay. And as it pertains to the icing, you guys, if you decide to do the icing and do, 10 cups of powdered sugar, if that makes it too thick for you, as you're adding the cups slowly, if you feel like you're getting to your desired thickness before 10 cups, and that's fine. It's however thick you want it, or thin. If you feel like you don't want it quite as thick, then maybe add 8 cups, 9 cups. It just depends on what you want to do. Just make sure that your cake is totally cool, because the thinner your icing is, the quicker it will run off that cake too. If your cake is not totally smooth, okay? So you kind of see the consistency of the icing. All right. And let me stop before that end up in the floor. All right, you guys. So we have to cool for a while before we can start icing this. Well, it's time to icing. For some reason, I feel like the very bottom layer, I guess just having to ice in the edge of it is, I don't know. That's the part I least like to do. Does that make sense? And I didn't want to be skimpy on the icing because I wanted it to be thick between each of the layers. Red velvet layer cake. And you guys, what I realized is I think I understand why I'm a glazed girl, and that's because I struggle to icing a cake, and I usually try to do something textured. That way I feel like the icing won't look so bad. But y'all, I struggle trying to icing a cake. But this is it. And I really do like the little specks, the little red specks of the cake in the icing. Sometimes I feel like it's almost impossible not to get them in there when you're trying to icing a cake. But then, what do I know? This is not what I do. I'm the pound cake queen, y'all. It is time. Ooh-wee. I don't know where I want to start cutting it at. Ooh. It may be Christmas, y'all. Christmas.
Hey everybody. Hey y'all, guess what? It's early.
It's early.
Hey everybody, I'm getting ready to go to work. And I just want to say, hey.
Ooh,
Are you there?
Christmas.
I don't see
Get all out the camera.
I didn't see them. Donna, some of them still sleep. That's pretty.
That is Christmas, y'all.
That's a...
Gotta make look out. That's Christmas.
This for breakfast.
Huh?
I can't eat this for breakfast.
Yeah, I was trying to wait on him to close this video, so we having to do this in the wee hours of the morning.
You know?
Wee hours of the morning, so he can't be playing with y'all all long. Look, babe. Oh, that's Christmas.
That is so Christmas.
Oh, look at Christmas, y'all. What you looking for a fork? You sure can wrap your lips around it, don't
No,
you?
man, I'm not going to eat this.
You not gonna? I can't tell.
I can't, Donna, I can't.
You can't. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. It's early. Just get the lighting together.
Get your lightning together, babe. Might be thundering with the lightning.
You good? Is that bright? Look at my face kind of dark. Probably because the cake in the way. Greedy monster. Oh, you trying to bite it?
I'm talking about your cake.
Do it again. Okay. You can't cut it. I declare. Y'all, it was hard. I said, I can't close this video without you. Now, I might have to sometimes, but you gonna let me taste it? It is too early in the morning to be eating cake.
You need energy. I got a lot of work to do. And so you need energy.
Okay, you guys. Is it moist?
Mm-hmm.
It is. Mm-hmm. Can I taste it real quick? Just a little. Quit playing. You know you got to go to work. You get just a little corner. I don't want no but a little corner. I don't want much.
That's good.
See, y'all, I did good.
The cheese in the pound. The cheese frosting. I know these things. I'm like a connoisseur on this. Guys, I can't eat much of this because I don't want to be. I got a lot of work to do. But I won't.
Y'all, that's good. Okay, listen. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Turn on that notification bell. That's that. What's the notification bell?
Oh, good so. Shake something.
No, hit the nosy.
Hit the nosy?
You too busy eating cake. You don't forget what you're supposed to say.
I'm nosy.
Anywho, y'all, that's Christmas. That is Christmas. Oh my goodness, that reminds me so much of my mama. And you see the bright red color?
Bright red. It's like the Santa Claus look. Santa Claus
like I say, I just prefer that bright red. Me and my little trying to do my little decoration on the top. But that bright red says, I say I like my red velvet to look red. A lot of times they look burgundy, and that's fine. Because once you add enough chocolate, it will make it look burgundy. But I like to add that chocolate oil. Okay. He gotta go.
I gotta go, people.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm doing better. I am.
We already look forward to you joining us again next time. Bye.
Hit the nosy.